I want to welcome you all into Coronavirus Inside the Arizona Numbers. A lot of milestone numbers coming in today, both globally and across the U.S. And then we'll talk about, of course, a major focus here in Arizona as well. Help you make sense of it all so that you can make the best decisions for your family. As I always say, you know their health and lifestyle best. We're just here to help guide you through the data as it comes out of the state of Arizona. We're just about to pass 65 million cases globally. We just did pass 14 million cases here in the U.S. And then sadly, globally, we've passed 1.5 million deaths within just the last few hours and 275,000 deaths across the U.S. So let's talk about the Arizona numbers as we always do. And there were some high numbers in Arizona as well, especially when you factor out that 10,000 case day, because we've established with all of you on here that was sort of an outlier from the holiday reporting. So Garrett, how do things in Arizona look today, numbers wise?
So today, 5,442 cases were added to the report today, and 82 deaths. That 542 cases would be, or excuse me, 5,442 cases would be a record if it wasn't for the report that came out on Tuesday, December 1st, which was 10,322, the one we talked about. This one would then be the record if that one was not, if we didn't have that holiday weekend. So, and the 82 deaths, while not a record, it's still within the top 20 of the reported deaths that we've had by the ASDHS. And what this does for both of our averages, for the case average, our case average is now at 45.85. That's our 7-day rolling average. And our death report average is now at 36, and that's a jump of 6 points from 30 yesterday. So we do have climbing 7-day averages in both numbers at this point.
So Garrett, when these tests are being reported in, the question everybody's asking, is this the holiday bump already, or are these cases that are being reported in now people who were sampled before they went to the holidays? Where are the collection dates showing up for these numbers?
So the collection date for these, I'll pull that up so I can give you something entirely, I'll let you see this, but we are still, we are getting into the point where it would be factoring in the holiday weekend. We are getting there. We're sort of in that range. This is the beginning of that range of people. So if you contracted it on Thursday, and this is all speculations for anyone in the comments. If you contracted it on Thursday, it usually takes Friday, Saturday, Sunday or so to see to start exhibiting symptoms. And then if you take a test that day, now we're looking at Monday, Tuesday. So yes, we could be looking at those very early sort of glimpse of Thanksgiving.
The bump in numbers.
Very early glimpse of it though. But
yeah, or even Garrett, hearing from somebody who says maybe they're not feeling sick at this point, but they get a call from someone they spent Thanksgiving with and said, boy, look what I just learned, and you should now go quarantine and test.
Correct. And so this is, let me bring that up really quick. So sorry, I was quickly going through here. So you can see this is the epi case curve for Arizona. You can see now we're starting, we have 2 days now. The 23rd and the 24th are now higher than our peak. And we said, I think it was yesterday, the day before, that we were going to be seeing this week starting to sort of peak up above our last peak. And you can see still most of the tests are coming from there, but we do have collection dates now, a lot of them from the last 2 days. So that sort of bears in mind of what I was just talking about. Now that now that we're seeing tests coming in from Tuesday, then you are in a situation where someone who contracted it on last Wednesday or last Thursday could theoretically, if they got a test immediately, they could be getting this, they can be testing positive at this point.
Yeah, they could be getting the results in. So just to refresh for people who are not joining us every day on here, that light blue color is where Garrett's filling in the collection date. So the sample date, the swab date back into that. That darker blue is the date that it's already been added in from the past few days.
And you can see right here for the case change per week. So most of the cases are coming from this weekend that ended 11/29, so that is Thanksgiving weekend. So anywhere between November 22nd to the 28th, that is where most of the cases are. And then another fraction of the cases are coming from the week prior. So that's sort of where we are right now, is cases coming in, collection days within that time frame right now.
So we've been talking about some of the changes happening here in our state and our neighboring states as well to try to mitigate the numbers that they're seeing. One of the big headlines coming in today is, of course, all non-essential travel is temporarily restricted statewide in California. So for those of you who are headed out there for any reason, please note that they're looking at things in a regional basis out there and watching those ICU numbers. That's what's really driving this for that particular area. They want those ICU numbers, that they have some capacity, that they have room to take people. This is both COVID cases and non-COVID cases alike. So if you have some reason that's sending you to the hospital or a family member that's then put into the ICU, they want there to be space for people. So that's what's driving that, and a regional look at that. But so please note that if you are traveling out there. And then also the curfew that was added in starts tomorrow night for Tucson. That starts at 10 p.m. until 5 in the morning. That is just for the Tucson area. And then here in the Valley, reservations at Phoenix-owned facilities, the sporting events have been canceled till February. So note that too. That was a lot of people, Garrett, who were traveling in from out of state as well. So it wasn't about just the kids or the family members out on the field, but the concerns that people are coming in from other states that were shut down. A lot of kids and families were coming in from California. It wasn't just what was happening on the field that was concerning local leaders, but what was happening off the field. So the team would then go to dinner and have a huge group at dinner. They would be staying at hotels, doing different things here in town, and that was the concern that was driving the numbers here in our state. Okay, so what happened out of the governor's news conference here yesterday? I think you have sort of the one sheet, Garrett, on the changes that were made and implemented coming out of his news conference yesterday. But here's sort of a look at what was released from the governor's office to keep you updated on that. 60 million provided in additional staffing, funding for staffing at Arizona hospitals. They also talked about the vaccine distribution, as you're seeing there on the screen, who would get it in what order. So who is prioritized in this? We had already told you that our older population, our healthcare workers, and also our educators now spotlighted in that, making sure that they get the vaccine earlier, bumping them up on the priority list. And then there was a lot of talk about restaurants. So the executive order wanted to make it easier for these restaurants to be able to expand outdoors, give them money to buy space heaters, things that they could keep their patrons safe by having them outside of the building and not just right there inside. So $100,000 for the Arizona Restaurant Association. Those were the things that came out in the conference yesterday, the news conference. Some people were looking for a lot more. Some people were happy with those decisions, but it's concerning when you see what's happening in California. So we'll continue to track that as well. All right, so how do our hospitalization numbers look here in Arizona? Because that's what's really driving the response in California. How close are we to the numbers they're seeing? I mean, they're down to like dozens of ICU beds, and that's it. And I know you guys, Garrett, earlier today, you've been very busy today. You all did a Facebook Live a bit earlier, and if anybody wants to go back and watch that, tell us about what they'll see on that video if they missed it.
So we had a conversation with Will Humble, who was the AZDHS director, Dr. Kara Chris's job before Dr. Kara Chris had it. And we also talked to Dr. Sam Durrani, who is he is the vice chief of staff at Honor Health in Deer Valley. And we had a good conversation about sort of where we are right now and what we can expect. And really, when we were talking to Sam on where things are at the hospitalizations, and Sam is somebody that back sort of earlier on, he's been very hesitant to sort of really not sound the alarm. That's not the way of putting it, but really hyperbolize what's going on in the hospitalization. So he was one of those people that was very cognizant of how many beds we did have.
Mm-hmm.
And now, just so everyone, he has definitely changed his tune. He's certainly
concerned.
He's certainly more concerned about the number of beds we have. He tells us there are several hospitals in the valley that are at capacity in their ICUs at this moment.
Yeah, we heard at least 11 of 82 were at capacity earlier this week, and that's only growing by the hour.
And on top of that capacity issue, that those places that already do have capacity, the others do not have adequate staff to staff the remaining beds they have for the ICU. So even though our everything we say. So, for example, today our ICU, for example, says we have 90% of our ICU is occupied. Well, to someone who actually works in the medical field, that's essentially 100% because they don't really have the staff for that 10%, the remaining part of that headroom. So right now they're already getting very close to having to implement sort of crisis standards of care right now. And we did bring up and talk about the possibility of having those ethicist boards, and that we are getting closer to maybe in the next 3 weeks having to implement ethicist boards. And for those who don't know what those ethicist boards are, those are the boards where you have panels of doctors that have to come up with a scoring system and implement a scoring system. So for who gets care and who doesn't, based on the quality of life that they have going forward. And obviously our medical industry doesn't like putting in a situation, says, well, you have a less likely chance of living, so we're not going to give you care. Obviously, they don't like doing that at all. So they are getting concerned. I mean, it's getting to the point where they're getting ready to sound the alarm.
I can't imagine having to make those decisions. I mean, essentially, a person in their life and all their moments and memories and everything come down to a file. Are you this age? Are you this healthy? Are you, what's your recovery sort of look like? And we're seeing Tara's post here. I know more than 10 people who've had it. A friend of a friend died. I know a family whose 8-year-old passed away. I cannot imagine that. Having an 8-year-old at home, it's tough to read. Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, you think of these families, 6,800.
Yeah, it's definitely it's hard to we look at these statistics every day, but it's definitely difficult to these are real lives, and I know people talk about the case numbers and how not a lot of people die from this thing. Well, I mean, realistically, and this is another thing we talked about with Sam, when the hospitals fill up like this, people are saying, well, people are only dying of COVID. I saw a couple comments like that. Well, realistically, even when you talk about the death numbers from COVID-19, the filling up the hospitals are going to start to exacerbate every other condition. And so we're going to have excess deaths in other things that we normally wouldn't have excess deaths in, simply because now they have to have a situation where people are holding over in the ER for longer than they should, or there's just not beds available. I mean, it's not just COVID-19 at this point. It's going to start impacting a lot of other areas of healthcare in which something may be preventable, but it's no longer preventable because they don't have the space for that.
It's exacerbated by the situation that they're dealing with. You're dealing with tired doctors. You're dealing with just overcapacity. It's I've talked about it before. It's kind of like when I start to tell my kids again, all right, you're not going to go play with that or do that. Don't ride your bike so fast. There's no hospital rooms open. Things like that. We're back to that point again, sadly, as we track all of this. Okay, so I always talk about the states that are seeing really high numbers overnight. And so the top 5 states today, California, no surprise, we're seeing what they're doing there. Texas is also considering making some changes. They were high on the list today. Florida, Illinois, and New York. So all of those states with some concerning numbers. Also the US, 200,000 cases coming in today, and then 2,800 deaths reported in here into the US. And one of the things that people are sort of comparing this to is this is approaching the numbers we saw of lives lost on 9/11. And we're seeing that on a daily basis here in the US. And then you have situations where you're seeing parties at the White House and Christmas parties planned and larger events. And it can be frustrating for people who are seeing that sort of situation there when we're approaching that 3,000 mark in daily cases here in the United States. So Garrett, when we're seeing these cases, we're also seeing the capacity test right now, thankfully, here in Arizona, that we're able to process these, that if you want a test, you can go get a test. I had a family member exposed overnight who got a call that said, you've been exposed. And I said to them, go get tested so you have peace of mind. And then I thought, boy, what a luxury we have here in Arizona. Do you guys have tests there? Do you, and they're in South Dakota, do you have tests to be able to go get tested? We forget how lucky we are. We've had 2.6 million tests processed here in Arizona, 18,000 in today, Garrett, and we're not even hitting our boundaries yet. I believe we're still at about 36,000 or so that they can process each day.
Yeah, I mean, it does appear. So even though, there is no problem with testing. So wherever the testing number is, whether it's 18,000, whether it's 25, 30,000, we have not had a lag in weeks higher than 1 day. So a typical lag would be 4 days. So it usually takes, it's almost always the case where it takes at least 4 days for a positive case or just a test to show up on the dashboard. That's the typical. Maybe 6 times in the last 2 months, essentially, we've gotten that 5 number. Essentially, it's always been 4. So there is no testing issues right now as far as being able to process these tests. So although, as you said, Katie, there actually hasn't been a lot of time where we've seen the ramp up to that 35, 40,000 tests. I mean, the governor did say that Arizona would have the ability to process 60,000 tests. Now, we haven't tested that ability quite yet. And I guess we don't want to, obviously. But, we haven't had that situation where we're at 20, we're only processing an average of 20, 30,000 tests.
Yeah. So, Garrett, where do our hospitalization numbers look? I want to get us updated on how things look for our hospital numbers. You had talked about talking with some of the doctors earlier on Facebook Live in their situation. How do things look?
So I'll just go through this very quickly. There's been about 27,500 hospitalizations in Arizona. This is not broken down by ICU or anything. This is just a demographic profile. As you can see, the majority of them are from the 65 and older category. As you can see, our hospitalizations are now reaching peak and will likely surpass peak of the July peak. So we're coming onto that point right now where we're going to be surpassing that. As far as the numbers themselves, the self-reported censuses, this is what I was talking about a few minutes ago. About 90% headroom in the ICUs. About 37% of the ICUs are COVID-19 patients. For the inpatient, it's about 32% are COVID patients, and we have about, again, 90% headroom. Now, again, that doesn't mean, as we talked about, this doesn't mean that every hospital is only 90% full or 90% full. That means that there are some hospitals out there that are 100% full, and others that might be 85% full, or whatever the numbers are. But they're going to be sort of differentiating with each other. We did have a record number of emergency beds that were being utilized during the census, the daily census at 55%. This talks about the holdover that we were talking about, how. And this is COVID agnostic. This is just people who are in the emergency room, and it's obviously taking them a little longer to find beds, and that's why there's more holdover in this department. Ventilator usage is at 43%. Our record high on that was 52%, so still under where we were at our record high. But they are, they're trying to keep those numbers down, obviously. And then when we just go through the COVID-19 numbers, 2743 for inpatient. That's about where we were. All of these numbers essentially going to be where we were in either mid-July or early August of the previous peak. So you can sort of see this carry through all the way where we're at about that point in almost all of these. Discharge, of course, except for discharges. We're discharging patients at a much higher rate right now. As you can see, we're way above the record for discharges. Emergency room visits, we're at around where we were at the peak. And then intubations, again, we are either at or surpassing the peak of intubations that are done daily.
So we'll continue to check on that each day. I know that today is Thursday, and some of you in the comments as well are saying it's Thursday. Let's get to some of the school numbers, and we'll walk you through how some of these zip codes look. We can look up your zip code. I do want to let you know some developing news just coming in. Gilbert School District has just made the call to return to hybrid learning, and that starts December 7th. I'm losing track. December 3rd, so that would be Monday, I guess. They will be going back to hybrid learning. 2 metrics were in the red for 2 straight weeks. So that's for the entire district. Keep in mind, that's about 32,000 kids. It's the 7th largest school district here in Arizona. So we'll peek at their numbers specifically. I know my kids' school was only open for about 2.5 weeks total. And when I could see these numbers and see that they were going to have to close again within 2 weeks, we just kept him at home for those 2 weeks. It wasn't worth upset.
I'm going to show you a different map regarding what you're talking about here. Now, we're not going to spend. I'm not going to go through this zip code by zip code. The other map for the GIS, the Maricopa map, it's a lot easier to search zip codes. So please don't start putting your zip codes in there. We will get to that.
We'll miss them. Yeah.
This is the legend for this, and if you can't see it, it goes from, this is confirmed per 100K for the last week, and it goes from 0 to about 575 per capita, a little higher, about 600 per capita. And basically, the darker the color, the worse. And what's interesting about this is you can see that almost all of the dark colors, especially the very dark colors, are in Gilbert right now. Here we are in 85295 with a 543. Right here, 85297, 464, 512 for 85298, 85234, 384. A lot of Gilbert zip codes are in not just in the over 100, they're well over 100. And you can see almost nowhere else in the valley do we have the same sort of numbers. The only other place you have this is at this 85353. Other than that, even in other places in the valley, you don't have these per capita numbers that you have in the East Valley. So right now, the East Valley is certainly a hot spot, and not just the East Valley, but really the
Southeast Valley specifically,
the exurban portion of the East Valley. That really, this is where your housing values in these zip codes are well over 300,000. In fact, most of the average here is going to be closer to 450,000 in most of these zip codes.
What do you think, Garrett, is that dividing line? Sorry to interrupt there. What do you think is that dividing line? We kind of saw, was it months ago when we saw at Scottsdale Road, then east of Scottsdale Road, it was a lot hotter zip code for numbers. And now it looks like I'm trying to see what might divide it there.
I would say it's the 60 freeway, and I don't have a transparency on this, so I do apologize.
Right. I can kind of see I-10, but yeah. I know it's diagonal through there, so it's not like it cuts straight up.
The 60 freeway and Gilbert Road.
Okay.
So really, yeah. And that really does define the Southeast Valley. Is anything south of the 60 freeway and anything east of Gilbert Road. So that is what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
And that's where really the hotspot is in the valley. It's the only place where there's a cluster, with the exception of this right here. There's a smaller cluster right here. But really, the large cluster of zip codes that are impacted the hardest is right here.
So say that again. The boundaries are basically the US 60.
The US 60 freeway, and then Gilbert Road, and anything basically in that southeast quadrant of that sort of area.
Yeah. So once again, for those of you who are just popping on here, that's why it seems that they're making that decision for the Gilbert School District, affecting 32,000 students out there, December 7th, moving back into that hybrid model. Okay. So Garrett, how do things look for the other zip codes? I mean, we kind of got a broad overview, and thank you for that. You made that map separately?
Yeah, that was my map because
I appreciate that.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I use that map to show this is that the GIS map, the Maricopa map, which is a great map, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really, all it does is it gives you that green, yellow, red. So really it's red, anything over 100 per capita is in the red. And so you really see the difference between something that might be 100 per capita and something that's 600 per capita. So that map is my map to basically show that portion. So
two things. We're running back into that. We're running back into that situation where we did months ago, where it's almost like here's a map that needs a new gradient of color to help us better understand how things look. You were able to provide that by building that yourself. Thank you. Katie Smith's writing, great map, easy to understand.
I'll push it over to our media folks and see if I can find a place for it.
Yeah, Jennifer's asking, where can I see that map online? What about your Twitter account? Is that something you can tweet out, or a snapshot?
I do have it on the Twitter account, but I'll try to get it on there so you can actually hover over and see what each one is. So
because it wouldn't be interactive.
It's going to be an image. So okay. I'll try to get our media folks I'll put it on the web somewhere.
Okay, so we can update everybody on that as it gets added in one of our next chats here. Okay, so because it is Thursday and we do get extra information coming out of Maricopa County. And again, we're lucky to get this, so we're not forgetting about you if you're outside Maricopa County. It's just that we get this great detailed information from them, and it helps us pass along information to you. So again, you can make the best data-driven decisions for your life. And the whole thing's in the red, so we're really going to have to dive down into these numbers and sort of read the last 2 weeks and help you guys find the change in your numbers and understand what that means when it's percent positive versus just a rise in case numbers.
Yes, so we weren't here last week, obviously, because it was Thanksgiving. But here's I'm going to start with the city, and I'll just go all the way down to the zip codes. As you can see, there's only one jurisdiction, chartered jurisdiction in Maricopa County that's in the moderate. Really, oh, there's two. I forgot about Gila Bend, sorry, and Wickenburg. So there's three. But really, in the valley is this one right here, which is Fountain Hills, and their case per 100 is about 194, which is about double where it was the week prior. And then we have Wickenburg here that's still in moderate. You can see that one's gone from 12 to 37. And then Gila Bend down here at about a 95. But everywhere else is insubstantial. So when we go to the unified school districts, and this is, as you can see, almost all the unified school districts at that point, with the exception of Fountain Hills, are in the substantial. Queen Creek, 565 for Queen Creek case per 100 for this zip code, which is an increase from the week prior. Higley, 512, that's from 332 the week prior. And then Gilbert, 493, up from 328 the week prior. Mesa, 432. So you can see those East Valley zip codes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They all had in the 500s, and now we're leaving that area, and our zip codes our per capita is going down. 499 for Chandler and Tempe, or Chandler, excuse me. Scottsdale, 333. Paradise Valley, 305. Deer Valley, 285. Dysart, 321. Excuse me, 268 for Dysart. What was that one I clicked on? That was Matteburg, was at 354. My apologies. But really, and then the only one that has Wickenburg is still in the moderate as well. So that's the unified school districts. Let's move over to the high school districts. They're all in the red. You can see Tempe, for example, 338. Phoenix, 341. Glendale, 301. So you can see all of them are in the red here. And then elementary school districts, again, also following that same pattern. All of them are in the red, with the exception of these yellow ones right here, which, as we know, almost no one lives in these areas. So that being said, let's go into the zip codes. So
yeah, and again, Garrett, before you get started, I want to answer one question. Donnell, let's see, and Diana Jones asking, where can I see this after this session? So you can still find this on Facebook after we're done. It'll post. I'll post it on my Facebook account too. And then you can also find this on YouTube, and then we're on Roku TV. If you have any of those streaming devices at home, Apple TV, any of those, you can find us on there after 7 tonight. So they sort of not edit this down, but do whatever they need to do on the technology side to be able to have it air over there. So those are the places that you can share it. I think he was saying you wanted to share it with his daughter. So that's how you can do that. All right, let's dive into, and we're so thankful to all of you who watch and share this, because it's all about getting this information out there and teaching you guys where to find this when we're not here with you. So helping you understand when the county and state and everybody releases their information, and giving you the tools to find it. So, okay, everything's in the red.
I started with 85202, which was very interesting and in many ways fortuitous, because this zip code, while it's only to 441 this week, you can see it's doubled. This has actually been highlighted on my normal zip code tracking sheet that I give out to the newsroom every single day. This has been one of the highest increasing zip codes in the valley, or in the state, excuse me, for the past week or so. So just since we're starting here, and you can see these doubling numbers here, essentially 262 to 441. So this was interesting that was the first one that showed up. 85381. This one is from 252 to 313, and that's a 10% positivity rate on that zip code. Increasing zip code. Almost all of these are increasing, by the way. It's pretty much 80% of these zip codes are going to be increasing. So
I just can't believe the increase in case numbers. I mean, it's gone from,
yes,
we're not even tracking numbers in the tens. We're tracking, you're jumping in a whole different category of hundreds.
Correct. Yes. This one, though, this looks like a pretty rural zip code. This is 85388, a sort of suburban zip code. But Small increases here from 167 to 187 in that zip code. 85225. 85225 is in Chandler, and this one's gone from 299 to 512. So just from 12% to 15%. So essentially almost a doubling again in that zip code. 603. I probably don't have 85603. Sorry, this is only Maricopa County. 85220. I already did. Did I do 208? I don't remember. No, I didn't. 85208. This is 306. So it went from 203 to 306 in that zip code. 85212. 85212 again, East Valley, from 341 to 468 in that zip code. 85377 in Carefree, from 324 to 216. So this is one of the rare zip codes that actually has a decreasing case per capita. You're not going to see a lot of that right now, but there's one. 85224. I will not have a 5255. I mean, I'm sure there's an 8 missing there. 372 to 255 to 372. This one isn't increasing.
So when you see Jackie's zip code right there, and you see the percent positive sort of staying the same, but the numbers jumping, that would indicate to Jackie that more people in her area are getting tested.
I'm being tested. Yes.
Okay.
So this is from 215 to 306. This is 85032. Let's see. 852. They're going too fast. Sorry. 85351. Yeah, I have it disappeared. 85351. Sun Lake, Sun City. This has gone from a 155 to 249. So almost a doubling with a 15% positivity rate in this zip code. 85296. If I miss yours, just keep pounding away and I'll get to it eventually. 340 to 538. This is essentially a doubling to with a 13% rate. So, and that is again East Valley. I don't remember if someone did 8503. They didn't think 85031. 85031 is from 192 to 319 with a 20% positive.
Wow.
19% positivity rate.
So that means for Irene, 1 in 5 people in her zip code are testing positive right now.
That are getting tested.
Yeah, of the ones that are getting tested.
Yeah, of the people that are getting tested. Yes. Yeah. And this is 85234, another Gilbert zip code, from 254 to 384 with a 13% positivity rate. 85142. 85142 in Queen Creek. I can never say that. 355 to 464 with an 18% positivity rate in this most recent week. 15. 85215. Where am I missing? There it is, right here on North Mesa or Northeast Mesa. 228 to 426 with a 14% positivity rate. 85501. No results for that. Sorry. 5323. That sounds like there we go. 85323 is gone from 219 to 386 with a 14% positivity rate. 85044. 85044 looks like a Ahwatukee zip code, 161 to 348. So essentially a doubling in that zip code with a 10% positivity rate. So lots of tests being done there. 383. 85383 right here in the West Valley, from 289 to 322 with an 8% positivity rate. So the positivity rate's actually still in the moderate in this side of the district. This side. 85204. I think I've already done this. No. 350 to 502 in this Mesa zip code with a 16% positivity rate. 85009. This is a 157 to a 331, so almost a little more than doubling. And that's a 15% positivity rate. The positivity rate doubled in that zip code as well. I will not have an 86409. Sorry, 85224. 255 to 372 with a 10% positivity rate, so increasing. I won't have an 86301. Sorry, Carrie. 5041. I only have Maricopa County. Sorry. 271 to 392. In that with a 19% positivity rate for that one. Well, Ken Dill, it's not fake news because it's literally what's on the county website. So sorry.
It's okay. That's lobbied at us a lot. We are just going to keep doing our jobs and keep teaching people where to find this information, and then providing them that information on Thursdays as it comes out. 258
to a 382 with a 22% positivity rate for this zip code, which is 85035. 85304. This is 153 to a 337 with a 13% positivity rate. This is in Glendale. 85013. 85013. This is downtown Phoenix, and this is a 223 to a 348 with a 10% positivity rate. 85296. I think we're back in the East Valley. I may have already done this one, but 340 to a 538
Oh,
with a
wow.
10% positivity rate. Yes. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. These I'm familiar with this area. There's
Yeah.
very nice houses there. So 85388. I think we already did this one. This looks familiar. 167 and 187. Pardon me, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
85006. Thank you. 85006.
Like we always say, it's no fun sneezing in public right now. If I have to sneeze at the station, I'm going to crawl under my desk, even though there's no one here.
206 to a 278 with a 13% positivity rate. 85331. I think I already did this one too. This one's at a 210 to 189. Cave Creek is a decreasing zip code, which is very rare right now.
Yeah.
8. What time are we at? Okay, we'll do this for a few more minutes or a few more, and then we'll be done. 194 to 291 for the Ocotillo, Chandler, Sun Lakes area with a 10% positivity rate. 85207. 85207 from a 263 to a 395 with a 13% positivity rate. 16. Where do you find this info, Tara? We find this on gis.maricopa.gov/COVID/schools. This is all something you can find. I'm literally just going to a government website to look at this.
And this is updated every Thursday, and also one other thing just to touch on really quick is that COVID-like illness number. People are seeing that it is the same across the county. So I see that confusion a lot. That number comes out on Sunday nights. It's 7.7 right now, and you can see the change over last week. Let me see. I think it was what I can see it on 6 point something.
7.7.
Yeah, 6.2.
So and it is a combination of the emergency room and the inpatient numbers. The inpatient numbers are already above 10% for Maricopa County, but the emergency room numbers are lower, so that's dragging down the average.
Yeah, and if you want to read a little bit more, if you're confused about COVID-like illness, we don't need to get into all of it here, but there's a blog, I think 2 days ago, from the AZDHS director on the AZDHS site. So that's where you can go to read more if you have a few more questions about it. Since we don't have enough time today, we can talk about it in the future.
85086. This is Anthem. No, I don't get a request for this one a lot, so I wanted to do this one. 156 to 210. So slight increases for Anthem with a 10% positivity rate. And we'll do one more. Who's the 85015? I think. Did we already do that one? We didn't. This one is 201 to 379 with a 12% positivity rate. So anyway, I know we can't get to all of them, and I do apologize for that. But this one, you can find this at the Maricopa County website. It's right there, and it changes every Thursday, as Katie said, at 9 o'clock.
So one of those questions that came up, the people who are outside Maricopa County, what about us? What about us? Tell us more. Okay, so Ambers, where can you find it if we live in Pinal County? So County is different, but what do we have for her?
The only thing we have for Pinal County, so Pima County, if you live in Pima County actually has a very similar dashboard. In fact, in many ways, it's superior to the Maricopa County dashboard. You can go and look at their COVID-19 dashboard, and you'll find it. It has zip codes. It has everything else. Yeah, it's right up there. It's an ArcGIS app. It's a fantastic dashboard. We don't spend a lot of time with it because most of our coverage is in Maricopa County. But again, great dashboard for Pima. The other counties, as of right now, the only place we can go to get anything is really the zip code map that's on the AZDHS website. It's not great, but it's all we have. And why it's not great, I'm not trying to knock the AZDHS. I have it shared, but all they do is just give us the case counts. They don't give us. There's no way to. They don't give us enough data to calculate a percent positivity. We can. I do have some other colleagues that I work with that do stuff on Twitter that do calculate a percent per capita rate. But again, we can't do percent positivity because we simply don't know what the tests are. So, but here's Pinal County. You can see these numbers right here for Pinal County. And this is on the AZDHS website right here on zip code. And it brings you down here, and you can look at all of these. And you'll see this gray. This gray is the Native American tribal areas have requested that their data be suppressed. So if it's a gray zip code, it's because it's a tribal area, just so everyone understands. But this is where you can go to find pretty much anywhere else in Arizona that is not a tribal region.
Okay, so and she's writing thank you. Amber's writing thank you. So hopefully, Amber, that helps you find the information you need. Let's see. What about the Navajo Nation?
The
Do we have
Navajo,
any recent numbers? And I'll let you, as
I
you
do.
pull that up, I want to address one other question that's coming up in here. Camille was just asking about the flu numbers, although that is not the point of this particular conversation. I can update you. We are only at sporadic. So there are 5 categories that rate the flu here in Arizona, and no activity is the lowest one, and sporadic is the next step. That's where we are. There are 43 reported in cases. We usually have about 300 at this point in the season. So we are not into the height of flu season just yet, even though hopefully everybody's getting their shots to sort of take some of the pressure off of our healthcare workers. You can find the flu info right there. Remember that the full report doesn't come out for 2 years on any health-related issue, but if you dive into the numbers that are on there, you're going to see a few more for 2020, and that's where I got the number 43 from earlier this week. So, all right.
So
Now,
Navajo Nation, I'll give you that. I can see that someone's doing yard work outside again, so that's always fun.
oh my gosh.
So,
See, I used to have that problem when I was with you from home doing these, and now that I'm here, there's just yell and
so,
there's no one here. I'm
so
alone.
Navajo Nation right now, they are on a week by week downturn at this
Okay.
moment. They've had 4 different reports that have so far a week by week downturn, about 18% lower than they were the week prior. Although their 7-day average is increasing a little bit. It was at 191 yesterday. It's at 202 today because they did have a quite a high report today of 324. Today was about 324 cases, and 2 deaths were recorded today at the Navajo Nation. They still have a quite high per capita rate. It's 9,800 for the entire nation, which is one of the highest in the nation. They still have that where if you look at the per capita rates of any sort of state and what those rates are, the Navajo Nation, even though it's not a state, it is its own jurisdiction, and it would be up there basically at the top of the list still.
Brenda's asking about the RT, the R naught. It's she's noticing that it's way up again. One of the things that with the R naught right now is just to disregard that, Brenda, because it's going to have so much noise in it because of the anomalies in reporting these case numbers when we had places that were closed down for a couple days or slower reporting. So, Garrett, you're suggesting just kind of
I think we'll touch on that again on Monday.
yeah,
We'll look at it again on Monday. Yeah.
it'll stabilize a bit more. So, Brenda,
Yeah,
don't
I think so. After a week of these really high fluctuations and these very strange fluctuations, it should at least get to where it should be. Now, it's at 1.17 right now. It's probably going to settle around there.
yeah.
But that's but before it was at 1.04 a couple days ago. And it's like, no, it's not at 1.04. We know that. This is because it's ingesting the Thanksgiving numbers and thinking that we're on a downturn, and that's
Yeah.
just not the case. So
Don't in that said, Brenda, don't think that we're in a good situation right now because obviously we're not with the hospitalizations and the space in the ICU. But as far as that number and tracking it every day, that's why we haven't brought it up too much, just because there's so much noise in it. So hopefully that helps, and then Brenda will for sure answer your question on Monday as we watch that stable out just a little bit. Okay, one more thing. We're running out of time. I want to update you guys all on. We just heard from the Fiesta Bowl. There will be sadly no fans in the stadium. So the Fiesta Bowl is still scheduled to go on as planned, but that was a huge moneymaker, a huge driver for Arizona tourism and spotlighting Arizona. And hopefully we can still put on a shining example of how awesome Arizona is for the rest of the country and the rest of the world when we host the Fiesta Bowl. But there will not be fans in the stadium. So that update just coming out. We'll have more on that in our sports reporting later on this evening. All right. I knew there was a lot today, Garrett. We're just trying to cram it all in here, and we're in the last few seconds. I want to remind everybody where you can reach us and where our very latest coronavirus reporting is. Right there, abc15.com/coronavirus is our very latest coronavirus reporting, and any of our past reporting if you're looking for a story that you might have missed, or as some people were asking before, how do I find that? That's where you can find any stories that you've seen that you want to share. Our newscasts come up in about 7 minutes. We've got one at 4, 5, 6, 9 over on CW, and 10 p.m. back on ABC 15. So a lot of places to catch our newscasts. Catch the very latest numbers in the morning as they come out, and awesome analysis from Garrett at his Twitter account, which is at Garrett_Archer. You can find me on Twitter as well. I'm loving the conversations we're having there at Katie Ramble. And then, so since many of you are watching on Facebook, an easy place to find me is facebook.com/news from Katie. Although somebody said they were going to unfollow me because my mask accidentally matched my shirt the other day. So they were done with me. My kids made that mask too. So I'm not going to tell my kids. Wasn't going to fight him on that. If that's the reason you don't want to follow me, it's okay. It's okay. Diane's writing, so helpful. Thanks, Katie and Garrett. We're so happy to help. We just want to help you guys be able to find this information. When we're not here with you, I'm actually, again, taking the day off tomorrow. So I will be back here with you on Monday after a long weekend. But all of that info and reporting, that's the easiest place to find us, both online and Kristen's writing, you're canceled, Katie. That's it. Sarah's writing all this COVID explanation from Garrett and breaking news from Katie. You two are my favorites. Thank you. Oh, Sarah, thank you so much. Very kind comments. You guys make it all worth it. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see you back here very